What is up, everyone? Kevin Hale giving it to you on this Sunday night, January 29, 2017, doing a round of sports shots live tonight via Blog Talk Radio. Tonight's panel, got Heather Tungate, Mandy Lemond, and hopefully joining us soon will be Andre Riddick. Heather is our Shooting from the Lip female personality. Heather, what's up with you?
Hello. I'm sorry. I was trying to turn down my TV. My son was watching the Royal Rumble, believe it or not.
Nice. Saw Cena won, so he's a 16-time world champion.
Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, you know, I tweeted this out earlier. I don't get the hype between Kevin Owens. I'm so sorry. He reminds me of a beer drinking softball league dude. And I get he was popular on the independent circuit, but I don't know. Whatever.
Fans do have a way of kind of getting who's pushed these days. So he's very popular from the fans' perspective. So, anyways, let's turn her mic. Mandy, what's up, lady?
Hey, babe. How are you guys? Hey, Heather.
Hello.
Good. Doing good. What's it like?
I understand your kids are watching the Royal Rumble.
Yes. Yeah, we have a subscription to the WWE network. So I let Christopher stay up till 10, and he's mad because I just totally made him go to bed. So now I'm not Mom of the Year.
Well, Ryan's co-host invited my kids over to watch it, and I said no. So I'm not the Mom of the Year. I said no entirely, absolutely not whatsoever. So I'm not MOY whatsoever, absolutely not. So I'm bad mom.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you're gonna be my mama tonight here on the show, so we're gonna turn you ladies loose again. Hopefully.
Okay. I can be your mama.
My mama.
Yeah.
Hoping I'm blasting his messenger, Andre Riddick, former UK men's basketball player, is scheduled to join us too for our panel of shots. But just to get the party started, last night, ladies, Kansas in town against our Cats. Bad performance by our Kentucky team. Your all's take. I'll start with Mandy first. Your thoughts from last night.
How do I put this gently? Cal got out coached. I mean, he really did.
Don't put it gently. Yeah.
Do you want me to be gently? Do you want me to put it gently? I'll say it nicely and slowly. Cal got out coached.
Bring it hard. I think
Cal got out coached. No, he really did. Yeah. He simply got out coached. I mean, we've got all these guards, and he did not put in plays when he needed to. There were timeouts that, in my opinion, needed to be called. And I have some friends who saw some things and some other, he just simply, and I think, Heather, you'll agree with this because you see things, and I'm sure that you'll agree with this, that he just simply got out coached. There were times that there were plays that needed to be played. There were times that, I'm going to say in particular in the fourth quarter, that he just simply needed to say, we need to settle down, and he did not settle down a freshman team, and he did not say, let's take a step back. And he knows that these kids are running and gunning, and he did not settle them down, and he should have. We had, 3 timeouts that we could have used, or 2 or 3, I'm sorry. And
at least
he
2.
should have used those, and he did not. Yeah, and he should have used those, and he did not. And he simply got out coached. And I'm a huge Cal fan. Please do not take me wrong, and I don't know what's going on. No. But this is, and I don't want to say unprecedented, but this is 2 losses back-to-back. I don't know the record necessarily. I can't quote myself on that because I'm not a statistician, but this is crazy right now. But he literally, in my opinion, got out coached. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, go, Heather, you jump in, then I'll add my 2 cents.
Yeah, you know what? I think the problem that Calipari has on occasion, not every game, is that he has a hard time making in-game adjustments. And I go back even to when we played Wisconsin in the Final Four, a couple of years ago. He didn't have an answer for the switch. Whenever Booker would get stuck on Sam Decker or Frank Kaminsky, he couldn't defend them. And Cal didn't have an answer to that. And it's just like, the other night, not only did Monk disappear from the game in the second half, but what happened to Bam Adebayo? He was being double teamed, and I don't know why. I felt like we ineffectively did not kick the ball back out, either for somebody to take an outside shot or somebody to even drive what I felt like at times were open lanes. So I think Cal's problem is kind of the end game adjustment. I don't know. I've seen it a couple times now. It is a little concerning. At the end of the day, I was really disappointed in our defensive effort as well. I mean, overall, and I know people have said this consistently, this is the worst defensive team Calipari has ever had. And it never mind the eraser at the rim that everybody says we need. Our guard play is bad too.
My take too.
Oh, I agree. Totally. That's a great point.
Totally outcoached. Here's one stat that bugs me, and I'm a Cal fan, but there's just certain things about Cal and this whole freshman mentality that just drives me fucking crazy. And here's my take. He'll preach how, we're the youngest team, blah, 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 blah. He starts 4 freshmen. He starts 4 freshmen to me because he wants to start 4 freshmen. I think personally, Derek Willis should be a starter. And for whatever reason, Derek is not. He's got Gabriel starting in front of Willis. Willis last night, I'm looking at the box score, 25 minutes, 6 to 7 from the field, 5 of 6 3-pointers. The guy was feeling it, yet he only had 7 shots. There are times that I think during the flow of the game, Willis is the 4th possible option on the offensive end, when at times he should be higher up. Monk had a terrible second half. Yeah, our guard play was not good. And then when you have someone like Adebayo who is shooting free throws like Shaquille O'Neal, he becomes a liability to us. And it was a very, very frustrating game. Andre's on. Andre, what's up, man?
Yep.
Andre.
How's everybody doing?
Hey, got Heather and Mandy here. Welcome, Andre. We're doing a quick post-game analysis from last night Kentucky-Kansas game. Give us your take on what happened with our Cats.
I felt like first half we could have been up a little more because Kansas wasn't playing so well. I think we had them 10 down. We could have pushed it to 15. I think that would have carried us over to the second half with a good momentum. And when they cut it to 5, that kind of built the comeback at that point. I think Jackson's play in the start of the second half, he continued to play well. I think he had some big threes, and they just got on a roll where we couldn't stop him on defense. And then they started pinpointing Bam when he started getting those fouls. So I make sure he was involved in the pick and rolls where he couldn't hedge out, and they would switch, and they would drive on him and try to get in contact with him. So they kind of explored what we were doing on defense at that time. And I think we just didn't have, as far as when we had the ball, I felt like we had just a random attack, while their attack was pinpointed and specific.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just came random with the way we were trying to attack, and guys just feeling like they had to carry the teams on the shoulder at a certain time. And then guys throwing in the turnovers. I think because you feel like it's going to happen. Okay, we're gonna catch up. Once you start getting down, okay, we're down. We got to make big shots. But it's like it shouldn't come to that as far as the game goes because of the defense. On the defensive end, we have to start playing better defense on teams. Because they have you're going to have good guards. You're going to have to play, better defense on the guards because you're not going to play a lot of big teams that have good big men where you have to stop them inside most of the time. So I think that in that zone, a lot of teams are going to play zone. We got to be able to move the ball and not just set up a jump shot, try to get something going to the basket and kind of mix it up a little bit more.
Right. Some good point. Heather, with our offense being so high octane, and it's also we want to push the ball, but we want to get on the break and score as quickly as we can, get shots off as quickly as we can before the defense sets up. Realistically, how can we expect to have a great defense if we have an offense that's built like that? Because in my mindset, and Andre, I'll let you chime in a minute, but my mindset is that it takes a lot to get up and down the court offensively, and you lose some of that, your legs and that energy, on the trying to play, a strong defense. I don't help me understand that.
True, but here's the thing as well. My problem with our transition offense is that we have guys that aren't making layups. And when you don't make a layup and, your opponent can get a quick rebound to outlet to a guard racing up the court again, your defense is never going to get a chance to set up at all on the other side of the court. So with that said, besides the transition offense and missing the layup, you're right. If you're going to have guys that are going to be able to run up and down the court, you got to have guys that are going to do it efficiently. And I feel like that's been a little bit of a problem with Kentucky. Not only can they not defend in transition, but they also have a problem with defending with ball screens, pick and rolls, whatever you want to call them. And if Kentucky cannot, not only make the easy layups that they should be able to in transition, it's going to totally screw their defense on the other side as well. And if you're going to have your guys running up and down the court kind of aimlessly and not being able to be efficient, whatever side the ball that they're on, it's kind of a double whammy. And I don't know, they're not going to be successful, and it's going to hurt them in March. They got to get something together.
Yeah, Mandy, follow up on that.
I agree 100%. One of the biggest concerns that I have is that they're not rebounding either. The option to get the rebound is not there. You know, there's no option to get the rebounds. There's no, what is it? I'm sorry, you're going to have to give me. I have a migraine right now. The option to get the rebounds, there's no, what is it? The balls that they got, the slip balls that they're calling it. There's no option to get there.
50-50.
Like there's no hope of give the 50-50 balls. Thank you. The 50-50 balls, it's almost like they step back from that. So that option of getting points up to put that, the free throws, you know, bam, what was that? You know, I mean, Heather is so right when it comes to that. Bam was not a factor yesterday. And if he has any hopes of going to the NBA, he's going to have to step up that game, you know, and that's not just for him now. And if we have a hope of going anywhere in the NCAA tournament, he's going to have to step up his game. There is no, I mean, and that's beside this Kansas game. But this whole, and I know Cal teams are notorious for not hitting their free throws, but the 50-50 balls and the free throws, those were huge yesterday. And I think that's something that's being overlooked as well. I mean, we did not shoot for those, and there's just so many things that we just did not do well. And there's just so many things that are frustrating in the fact that Derek Willis is another point that you guys brought up that is so accurate. He needs to be on the floor more. He needs to be on the floor more. And Wenyen Gabriel is, yes, he's one of Cal's guys, and Cal has his guys. Yes, he does. Cal has his guys that he babies, and if you look on the sidelines when he is coming in and he has these guys he will shoot out, and then he has his guys that he will coddle. And Wenyen is a coddling guy, and he will coddle some folks, and he will not coddle others. And this is one of those situations where we need to bring him in. You know, we need to bring him in, and it's just so frustrating. It's just so frustrating. I don't know. I mean, everybody else sees this, but does Cal see it? You know?
Well, that's a good question.
I don't know.
Andre, wrap us up with the Kentucky performance. Looking ahead, Andre? What are some fixes you feel has to take place?
Well, I think the one thing was just the thing you said about, you know, how we play offense, how possible that we can be able to play defense once we put all that energy out on the offensive end. But you do that every day in practice, and you know, you get to practice, be doing that very thing. You know, just playing defense, trying to get a stop, and even if you're playing against, you know, in our case, playing good talent every day, that makes better on both sides. So it's something that practice, but it's in the game that you got to focus on it. Take what you do in practice again, you know. And I think that's one of the areas we got to mix up our defense as far as, you know, how we're playing against those good guards and those explosive players who can get a lot of points and put a lot of points on the board if, you know, defend them well. And we got to be able to, you know, just mix some things up. We see what's not working. We try to make changes on, you know, maybe on the ball screen and also on plays where when they got somebody inside. I think it was one period during the game where they shifted everybody to the perimeter and had one guy inside and kind of threw the lob in, I think, with Monk on one of their taller guards, and he's got a layup, you know. And so just recognizing what teams are going to be doing and try to make sure we're helping each other and making it be like a team effort on defense. But going forward, I think, you know, I know a lot of people have said a lot about one-and-done players, and especially, you know, after last night. But the thing about Cal is he's a specialist at, you know, getting what he can out of those guys, you know, while they're here. And I think, you know, this year be, you know, just like that. I think we'll get more out of guys individually. I think we'll get more out of guys, you know, from the team concept, you know, to be where we use these last two games especially to help us be a better team and get us going in the right direction, you know, because obviously, you know, we see that, you know, it's not really working out there and things are not clicking. We're definitely not putting the effort forth that we were doing like early in the season. So better defense, and I expect, you know, rebounding the ball, playing better defense. I think those two things, but just sharing the ball and being more confident in your teammates, not feeling like you have to put everything on one person's shoulder.
Right. And to just finish this point, I think, Mandy, you brought it up about, you know, the 50-50 ball. We gave up a lot of second chance baskets too. They were beating us to the boards on the offensive putbacks, and that was discouraging because a few times I just saw our players flat-footed. We didn't react, and so. Okay.
Right.
We got that out of our system. Mandy, I'm going to start with you. U of L, this whole sex scandal, they, in this past week, did come out and publicly accept the majority of the accusations regarding the stripper gate, if you will. But there's a couple points that they you know, kind of push back on. They still swear up and down that Pitino was not involved in any of these, in the knowledge of what was going on. Personally, I still find that very hard to believe because it's a 4-year window of, you know, in a sense, getting compensated, or if you will, from the flesh to play, or at least to come on a board. But it was funny because the school, in acknowledging they did host these sex parties, but basically what I got out of the article is that it really didn't help do anything for recruiting. Anyways, what was your take when you found out how the school did basically announce that these allegations were legit, but we're pushing back on Pitino's lack of involvement?
Well, here's the sad. I know this is not going to go over well with our listeners, but I like Rick Pitino.
Oh, I do too.
This is odd, but which is odd, and I really do. And I've liked him since I was when he was at UK, and I like what he does. But if you are a blind person and you can read Braille, you know that he knows what's going on at his university. And if you don't, you're crazy. And if he didn't know, then he's like on some Alcatraz. Like, he knew. He absolutely knew what was going on. But the fact that Tom Jurek has his back makes him the GOAT of all people. I mean, let's be real. He is the GOAT of all people. He's a badass. Let's be real. I mean, the fact that he would go above and beyond and have his back is amazing. But the concern is that he would go and honestly throw someone else under the bus to save, and the under the bus that he's throwing is the university. He's throwing the university under the bus to save Rick Pitino. So he is throwing an entire entity, not just
that's how I see it too.
A person, right. Yes, he's throwing an entity under the bus to save one person. So what does Rick Pitino, the question needs to be asked is, what does Rick Pitino have over the University of Louisville that would happen?
That's a good question. Andre, you played under Rick. I don't know how sensitive of a subject this is for you to discuss. I hope you can shed your perspective. But school is acknowledging failure here. But they're putting it all on McGee, which I do find that very hard to believe that it's just McGee. But go ahead, Andre, share your thoughts.
I don't know. I think they just accepting some of what was accused, and I guess gives them a chance to just put things to rest. It has dragged on for quite some time, where it's taking a lot of attention away from what they're trying to do, as a school in general. And I think just putting it to rest, just getting some kind of closure and get it going in another direction. I think that's kind of what the idea was there. Even though I thought it would happen a lot sooner than that, but it lasted I thought it would happen more like at the end of last year. I didn't think it would carry on into this season. But as far as Coach Key goes, I would say, well, I really think, I think probably some people didn't know initially, and then later on when it was already happening, didn't do. I think that's more, in my mind, something that, because being a coach is very competitive. You're trying to get recruits in. I can understand a coach going out and doing something to get that edge, to get guys to sign up, and that was happening. A couple of guys signed up, but at the same time, the guys who didn't sign up, you did all that for, and now they have evidence against you. So it was a dumb way to go about trying to get players in the first place. But that being said, it's something that, because whatever you do, you got to know these kids are, anytime a kid goes somewhere and goes on a recruiting trip, everybody asks, hey, what you do? What y'all get into?
Exactly.
And, those kids, they share that information, so it was never going to be where it's going to be a secret, So I don't think it was a secret because I know kids talk, coach talk, so I think somewhere in there, the information might have came out, to where, but it was already going. So if it was going on for 2 years and I found out 2 years later, then it's still going on, So now it's well, when anybody else find out? And I think, somewhere, I can't say exactly what happened, but in my mind, I think that's something that could have took place where maybe, initially somebody didn't know, but in the end, everybody knew.
Right. Now, Heather, I'm turning to you. To his point, and this is how I'm thinking, you got 17-year-old boys, not men, boys who are coming into these parties, and their buddies when they get home says, "Hey, how was your recruiting trip? What'd you do?" "Oh, I was sitting on a couch with my hand on top of a chick's head for about 10 minutes." I mean, doesn't that? Well, I mean, that's going to kind of raise a flag or two.
Heather. Seriously.
And I didn't understand a word she was saying during those 10 minutes. But all right, Heather, jump in.
She was a phenomenal recruiter. That's all I'm going to say. So, you know what? Honestly, I want to throw this out there. I respect Rick Pitino as a coach. He is a great X's and O's guy, especially on the defensive end of side of the ball. And Andre would probably back that up. But, again, if you didn't know that this was going on with your program, he was asleep at the wheel. I'm sorry. And I think what Louisville is trying to contest is that there was a lack of institutional control, so to speak. So I guess my problem with this whole thing is that people knew stuff. They just didn't report it. And I think what Louisville is trying to protect is a Hall of Fame coach who is who is good at his craft, and he screwed up. And by the way, they have a title at stake here because most of the guys on that 2013 team were involved in this. And I get that you want to protect, your reputation, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, they didn't do the right thing. And these guys knew what they were doing. And I kind of equate it to the FedEx scandal, no offense, at Kentucky, which is what brought Rick Pitino here. It's sad. Right. It's unfortunate. And you know what? Hopefully they'll learn from it because I think Kentucky did.
All right. No pun intended, guys. You all just said a mouthful. And moving on to the next topic. The NCAA.
We shot to the ceiling, didn't we?
Yeah. Somebody's hitting the ceiling tonight. All right. The NCAA, which in a cool move, basketball announced that they're going to be, I guess it's sometime in February, that they're going to be announcing the pre-Sweet 16. They're going to announce the top 4 teams of each region, I guess, kind of like the college football playoff thing. And, it's no secret. And I get to start with, let's see, who do I start with on this? I guess start with Andre on this. It's no secret when it comes to football and college football, college basketball. College basketball, football is very popular. And it goes through, into January, and it takes a lot of the spotlight off college basketball. And some people have talked about this college basketball season getting pushed back a little bit, making some changes to the college basketball schedule to help the popularity. I thought, or my thinking, Andre, is that, this whole the Kentucky playing Kansas in late January, to me, is a good thing. You got 2 blue bloods out of conference playing a high profile game. They had the big stage last night. It was a lot of, it was good for, in my opinion, college basketball. With the NCAA announcing this pre-season or pre-tournament Sweet 16, what else do you think the NCAA can do to shove college basketball down our throats for the next, several months, couple months?
I don't know. I like how things are now. I think the way it's built now, and I think with football, they're kind of like been looking for ways to make it more competitive, to make it where people feel like they have a decisive champion. They've been the last 10 years looking for different ways to try to tweak it so it can feel like they're getting the most out of it. Whereas with the way basketball's been set up, we haven't been doing that. I think the only thing we've done is when we added those make it still be 68. That's the one thing that we did that kind of gave
playing games
in there.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that's the way we're set up. I think it's set up well, and I don't really think I would put anything new in there. People always people enjoy college basketball better than pro basketball. People get into it. It's I would make the case maybe it could be a little bit longer. Throw a couple more games in the season, just because it's so popular, and it could, you could add some different kind of games, where kind of like the AC, the challenges that they do, like us playing Big 12 teams and FC Big 12 and things like that. So maybe you add a few games like that where big teams are playing each other and getting that draw of the crowd. But other than that, I really think everything is good, and I don't see a whole bunch that we can do to make it more momentum than it already has.
All right, Heather, same question, what would you do different? One thing, before you answer, one thing I think, like Jay Billis last night, listening to him, one of his takes, because he's got concerns on how college basketball kind of, really kind of almost out of sight, out of mind during college football season. And one of his things was, he mentioned, if I heard him right, is to have conference games, play them earlier in the season as well. Mixed conference games and play some of those non-conference games, into after January. And what would you do different?
You know what? You're right. I felt the same thing that you did as far as Bill was making his point. I absolutely kind of agree with him a little bit as far as, making some out-of-conference games, especially the tough games, later into January and February. I think that's a good gauge to get where, especially for the NCAA selection committee, where teams are as far as their development in the season, so on and so forth. I think it's a good assessment. I also believe that this kind of selection show, the top 16 teams, I like it. I mean, it shows you where, here's what's not clear to me. Did they say they're going to break this down by region, or do you know?
That's a good question. I do have the article.
See, I don't think they did. I think they just kind of, here's where the NCAA kind of screwed up. I think they said that, we're just going to pick, the top 16 teams. I would like to see them pick, the top 16 teams and kind of place them in a preliminary region. Because isn't it, that the top, what is it? The overall number one seed can pick where they want to go, and then it's kind of goes down the train from there, right? So here's what I would like them, to do. It's kind of rotate, the top number one seed, because I think that's going to change. I also think they have to account, the conference schedule, what they did in their conference tournaments, and which is kind of different from football, I guess, right? Thank you, Ohio State fans. Yeah, I just trolled you. But I think what I would like the NCAA to do, and I get where they're trying to go, is maybe name the top four seeds as they are right now, and then kind of branch out from there and say, here's where this can be interchangeable. And I think, again, with, college basketball, because it's kind of ever evolving, that is going to consistently change. But I wouldn't go beyond the top. I wouldn't go beyond the top 15. I wouldn't. But it would be good, because it'll still make that selection show valid, on Selection Sunday. So,
well, I read the article. It is just giving us the top 16 teams, which is a good start. I mean, it definitely would let the schools, the fans know who the committee recognizes right now as the top 16. And I guess the plan is to go weekly from that point on. So I guess from that perspective, Amanda, there's no surprises. I think a lot of those 16 teams will probably everyone will agree that these are the 16 teams, no matter.
Right.
So wrap it up for us.
Well, I mean, to the degree that it's not going to change that much, it is what it is, and those rankings are not going to change that much. And for someone like myself who travels with the team, I think it's so important for travel purposes and things of that nature, and for folks who go with the team, it's almost poignant to see those rankings, so we can get our get our shit together and start getting ready to go. So for my selfish purposes, it's great to see those rankings and say, okay, yay, we're going, and like Joe Lenardi putting the one seeds and the two seeds and things of that nature together. Like last week, that was awesome for me to say, okay, Kentucky's going to be a 2 seed, and let's get together and see, okay, where we're going to be going, and the SEC tournament and things of that nature. It's great to see those things. But honestly, I think for the normal fan, here's what I would like to see. I would like to see a fan vote. I think that's crazy and asinine, but I would like to see a fan vote. Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, I do think it's crazy and asinine.
I do. But go ahead. I want to hear.
I know it's asinine. I think it's asinine to see a fan vote. I think it's but because of the rankings overall, but we watch the games and we see what we see our teams do, and we vote. We feel what they're doing, and we see essentially what they break down things to do, where we see they're going, and essentially our hearts breaking down to. And I think eventually we get to vote where they want to go, so we can say where we want to go. Is essentially what it breaks down to. So I can say where I want to spend my vacation time is what it breaks down to. So that's what I want to say. It breaks down to. So I think that's where we should. So that's what it breaks down to. Is where I
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is you need about a month to plan your wardrobe for where Kentucky will be playing, their game.
Okay, Ryan Lemon. Okay, Matt Jones. Yes, that's what it breaks down to. No, but seriously, I think fans should be able to kind of put down where, the NCAA gets to send everybody where they want to go. Well, fans, I think, should get to say where they want to go to. It's not fair that some eons in the sky get to send their fans where they want to go. That's not right. The fans get to say where they want to go to.
That is interesting. Now I'm thinking, with Big Blue Nation, our second team might be the 16th seed as well as the first seed, but that's just how BBN represents. Yeah. Okay, all right.
And I want to caveat all this with I have had half a bottle of wine. So whatever I say is null and void. I want to caveat with all this. I've had half a bottle of wine.
We're putting an asterisk on your
Amanda Lemon. I stick with everything that I've said unless it's intelligent with Merlot. How about that?
All right. Blame it on the blame. Jamie, what's that Jamie Foxx song again?
Blame it on the alcohol, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. How about that?
All right. Shot number 3 for us. I get to start with, let's see, who is it? I'm going to start with Heather here. Bleacher Report had a cool article, NBA under 25 player power rankings, though I don't get into these power ranking things at all, but it was kind of cool that we see our Kentucky program getting some, what I say, free publicity because of those 25 of those under 25 players, 5 represented the blue. Thus, 20% of that made up of former Kentucky players. Heading the list is Anthony Davis, Carl Towns is on it. I think Devin Booker, blah blah blah. Again, this is, Heather, where we are always going to be in a position because of the way the NBA is, the rules are with the NBA, that these little quirky, nerdy, power rankings or whatever, we get a lot of spotlight. And I guess my point with this article is not so much, that there was this article, but the fact that we represent 20% of the players. So your take on this free pub.
Yeah, you had Devin Booker, Julius Randle, Enes Kanter, Karl Anthony Towns, and Anthony Davis. It's a good recruiting tool. I can speak English. I will get this out. It's a good recruiting tool for John Calipari. Not only can he evaluate good talent coming out of high school, given on the whole one and done rule, but he can get guys to the next level. And seeing this list, and I kind of read the story too, if I was Calipari, I would go into a home and say, hey, look, here you go. Top talent in the NBA right now. And again, I know everybody's going to yell at me on Twitter about ruining the athletic experience and college basketball, but the guy, not only can he use the system to his advantage, but he can also use the system to get kids to the next level, which is ultimately their goal. No offense. It is what it is. And he's been very successful at that. There is that track record. Somebody else compete against it because I don't think they can.
All right. Good point. Andre, represent. You wore the blue,
Yeah, I like following the former players, and it's exciting to see them, have that success, and dominating at such a young age, like they're doing. I agree that, it is a recruiting tool where you can just point out, some of the former players that's, doing so well in the NBA, because that's what a lot of the top players, that's what their mindset is on. They're not coming to go to school 4 years. They're coming to do a year so they can get to the league, and that's how it's built. And so they change the rules, and I'm all for getting those guys coming in. I don't agree with a lot of we shouldn't get those kind of players, because we absolutely should. Mm-hmm. And the times when we weren't getting those kind of players, we sucked, and I didn't like those such years. So it's true that a mixture of old and new is the most successful. And I think one of the things we could do is just, the 4-year guys that we do have, and the guys that we know that are going to stay with us, we can develop those guys a little more and get them some more things than some of them do over the course of the years that they're there, like a Willis, there was a couple of years in there that he didn't play so much. Mm-hmm. So there's an opportunity to play some guys who will be 4-year players, right, and then throw them in there with the young players that get, So, I'm excited for those guys, and I hope to see them continue to dominate the NBA for years to come.
Good take. It was funny when I first saw this list. For some reason, without even looking at the list, when I saw the title of the list, I had Bledsoe, Wall, Cousins in mind, and then it hit me. Wait a minute, those guys are now over 25, over 25. I mean, and it just seems like yesterday they were here on, wearing the blue.
Mm-hmm.
So Mandy, finish up.
Well, I was with DeMarcus this weekend, so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so DeMarcus, we got tickets. We were with DeMarcus this weekend, Friday night. He hooked us up with some tickets to this game with the King. So got to hang out with him for a little bit. He said,
where was that at?
We went to the Pacers game. Pacers game and the King.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So he's So we hung out with him for a little bit, and he's such a good guy. Of course, he's amazing. And there's a plethora of guys, on UK connections to that. So our boys totally sported, Team Boogie all the way. But he's such a good guy, and we got to hang out with him for a little bit. But here's the thing: with that UK connection through him, our kids have learned so much love, not just Team Boogie, but just the philanthropy that he does. There's so much more to that. There's just so much more to that generation that Coach Cal came up through. I love Cal. I know I spoke ill of him earlier, but there's so much more to Wall and Cousins and Bledsoe, and even, there's just so much more to that generation that came up through that first couple of years that came in. And there's just so much more. But we were just so blessed to be in, and I'm just trying to think, if you go on my Facebook, we had so many pictures that we were taking the other night, and we were just so blessed to be there. Ryan obviously had some connections, so we got some great tickets, but he's a great guy. I mean, you just think about the Cal era. He has a family and network, and those guys worship Cal. And I don't know what mystique that Cal has over them. I mean, that he has, but he does. And he's amazing. And I don't know if you can hear that snoring about the background of my son snoring in bed beside me. Like, he's sleeping beside me. So, there's some mystique beside Cal that is amazing. There's just, I don't know. It's amazing. He's insane, crazy. And I just, okay, well, I feel like there should be a 5-minute Cal episode.
Yeah, Cal. What? It's funny. I've reached out. Heather, I said something to you. Cal every week seems to have some great soundbite or something. And this is what we're going to have to start doing, Heather. Yeah. We're going to have to find that soundbite from Cal. And we got to come up with some quirky name. This is I don't know, whatever. And play that soundbite and just dissect it, because he's always doing something to, if Kentucky or Calipari has not been mentioned on ESPN for more than 24 hours, I think it's like Cal is like,
then the world should fall apart, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just call it Cal's hot take of the week or something.
Yeah. We'll figure that out. We gotta do that.
I agree. Yeah. Way to go, Heather. Yeah.
All right. My next shot. I'll start with you, Heather. You're really into the NFL. We're down to the final two teams. So we're down to the Super Bowl. New England Patriots, Atlanta Falcons. Tom Brady, who I am a fan of. I'm a Tom Brady guy. I'm not afraid to admit that. Heather, are the Patriots and Tom Brady, because of Deflategate, are they on the verge of giving Roger Goodell a big fuck you at the Super Bowl?
Of course they are. The Patriots have the number one scoring defense in the league right now. And while I respect the Falcons, who have the number one scoring offense, defense wins championships. And by the way, I am going to tune in like the millions of others, because I want Tom Brady. I want Roger Goodell to hand the trophy to Tom Brady. And I want Tom Brady to look at him with a smirk like, yeah, I got you, motherfucker.
I got you. Andre, jump in. Your take? Did you follow Deflategate, that whole thing? And how do you possibly see this all coming across? Actually, Andre, before I say it, I think I heard Tom Brady's father publicly state that if Patriots win, Goodell should not present that trophy, which is already now adds some more zing and flavor drama to this, how this all plays out. But it's, go ahead, jump in.
Yeah, I think it would be, redemption for Tom Brady in a sense, being suspended and having, losing those games could be key in how far they got in the season. So against a suspended like that is rough on your team, and him being away from the game, and it's hard for any reason to be away from the game. But I'm sure he missed playing, and I think that would be the ultimate to win, and for Goodell to hand him the trophy. So I think he absolutely should, just because I think that would be the best ending to it. I don't know if they're going to win, though. I think it'll be an interesting game. I think Atlanta has a really explosive offense, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out.
I definitely, without a doubt, I think this will be one of the more entertaining games because of both teams' offenses. Mandy, your take?
It is one of those things where it should be devil deuces all the way. 100%. I am so proud of him. 100%. I mean, wow. I mean, this guy rose from the ashes, if there's nothing else. They thought this guy was cheating. They thought he was cheating, and he wasn't. I mean, they accused him of Deflategate and said that he was essentially being a failure to be. I don't even know how to say this. I don't even know how to say this. How do you accuse someone of?
Not only accused.
How do you put?
I mean, not only accused, he was punished. So
yes,
in fairness,
that's
to the
best way to put it. And now,
go ahead.
Yes, and now he's not only risen from the ashes, he is standing atop of Mount Olympus and is about to crush Mount Olympus. And not only do I hope he wins, I hope he crushes all the records and stands there. And when I hope they hand him he wins MVP, and I hope he not only wins MVP, I hope he crushes the records and just walks off. And what I hope that he does, I hope he hands it graciously and smugly, and I hope he walks off with such candor, and he is the talk of the town. I hope he does it with such grace that they talk about him for years. That's what I hope does. That's what I want. That's what I want for him.
I would like to see Mandy get what she hopes and wants, Heather. So, because I think Mandy deserves it. She deserves it.
I think Goodell is, at the end of the day, look, and this is just based purely on that. Goodell is going to hand him the trophy, the Vince Lombardi trophy, and I want Brady to wink at him. And I'm a Bengals fan, so not only do I respect heartbreak, but I respect talent. And Tom Brady has talent, and what this guy has done throughout his career cannot be denied. And I think that, look, whatever you think about Deflategate, so on and so forth, because I kind of believe that Brady had to have known or expected something was going on. But how do you prove that? And with that said, they suspended him for 4 games. The NFL can't suspend dudes for beating up wives, girlfriends, or whatever else they do.
Football?
Or bullying teammates, Rich Incognito. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the NFL is so inconsistent in their punishment. This is why I would like Brady to look at him and be like, screw you, dickhead. By the way, hand me the Lombardi. I'm going to go, meet up with my supermodel wife, and you can suck my whatever.
Good Lord.
Right.
Andre.
Are we vicious?
Are we vicious? These chicks kiss their mothers with their mouths still. So just, we got that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Andre, give me your Super Bowl prediction.
I'm going to go. I'm going with the Falcons.
Really?
Falcons by 10.
Got a score?
Yeah. I'll go 28. Let's go 14. Let's go 35.
Really?
21.
30. Ooh, yeah. Shit. Okay. Heather, what's your score? Predict.
I would say 41. Let's do 41-31 Patriots.
Mandy?
I'm going 43-31 Patriots.
I'm saying 45-41 Patriots. And Mandy, if you want, wake up your son real quick and just tell him to give us a score. He doesn't, and then he can go right back to sleep.
Dude, I'm going to confess right now. He's had a bottle of champagne.
Nice. Okay. All right. So you're saying his prediction would be skewed. We couldn't use his prediction anyways because he'd been drinking. Okay. All right.
We could not.
No. All right. All right. I hate to be a buzzkill here, But
What are you killing
in the
us
sports,
on?
yeah, I'm gonna bring on. I'm gonna do this next shot, which is very alarming in the sports world. Baylor, the lawsuit they're involved in a 4-year span. The lawsuit alleges 52 rapes by Baylor players. One, the number itself, when I heard that, made me sick to my stomach. The lawsuit, I'm going to kind of quote some from this article. Baylor graduate claims, this lawsuit that's filed by the Baylor graduate claims 51 players committed 52 acts of rape during this 4-year span, including 2 that raped the individual on the lawsuit. Here is a quote from within the lawsuit that claiming that former assistant Kendall Briles once told recruits, and this is a quote, "Do you like white women? Because we have a lot of them at Baylor, and they love football players." So if that was indeed said, he's setting the train in motion. And as a father of daughters, of course, that the whole thought of all this, again, makes me sick to my stomach. But this is where, I'm glad we got like Andre here, who's a college student at a big time school. The lifestyle of these athletes, and we'll stay with Baylor here. In some cases, depending on the town, because there are a lot of cases, Baylor, Florida State, they're the biggest show in town. And you got everybody on board with the program. When I say everybody, like police, everybody, just the good old boys. These kind of acts are kind of I don't know, they're not, to me, priorities for a lot of these schools. And when I see an article like this and I hear the acts that are involved, am I quick to jump on the bandwagon by this person who's filing the lawsuit that these are legit? Honestly, probably more so than not. When I probably should still give the athlete, in this case, maybe a slight benefit of the doubt. But when you got a situation where 52 rapes in a 4-year period, if that was indeed the case at Baylor, they've got to look at shutting down a program, because it just doesn't start with the coach. It has to go higher up. You got AD, you got president, everybody who has turned a blind eye on these victims. So, Mandy, I'll start with you. You're a mom. When you hear about something like this, what's rolling in your head?
It's appalling. I mean, there's no other word but appalling. I mean, I mean, it's a sensitive subject for me for personal reasons, but it's very appalling. I mean, it's an internal investigation that needs to go deeper. I mean, it's very sensitive for me. So, I don't know any other things other than to say that it needs to go deeper and that there needs to be some sort of internal investigation, and there needs to be some sort of, anytime there's someone who has some sort of allegation of rape, there needs to be some sort of, it needs to start with police. There needs to be some sort of personal investigation with the female, and rape never needs to be ignored. Never needs to be ignored. And no matter who it comes from. I mean, it never needs to be ignored. And there needs to be some sort of person who it needs to start from somewhere. And when it comes to athletes and things of that nature, there needs to be some sort of guidance counselor that it needs to start from. Whether it needs to be some sort of student athlete that comes to be involved with it. Been around a lot of athletes. I mean, it needs to be some sort of something of that nature. And when you're dealing with some sort of huge university of that nature, you need to have there's student athlete advisors always around them. There should be something of that nature. So there's a lot of ways around something like this, but there needs something done. Absolutely.
Yeah, Andre, you being a former player, and I'd like to know the mindset was then and what you know about it now, because the truth is, you guys, we'll use Kentucky. You guys are not treated well by the fans. Okay, so no, I'd be right. You're treated by fans, recognized, but you're like rock stars. You go out and you're recognized. And let's be brutally honest. I mean, you're gonna have people available to you, and then you got people who, for some reason, there's some athletes that have this mindset that they're entitled to. What's that fine line? And I'm not putting you in those categories, but Andre, but you were there, you've seen it I don't know if what you've experienced, but from a player's perspective, share with us how you can balance that, because I mean that spotlight is there for you always.
Yeah, I think definitely, college athletes, when you're playing at big schools, or you feel like you're a star in some sense, you're the talk of the town, and it's college, kids party and going out after time or whatever. But there's never like where you're entitled to something. You're not entitled to any time to take advantage of anybody. And a lot of times, if there's drinks involved, that's even an escalated situation where you have to be careful about what you're doing yourself, because you're in school, you do a certain thing, and you don't want to do anything stupid that will hurt someone else, and then also at the same time put you in a situation where now you're in trouble. So it's a thing where you gotta be smart about what the choices that you make. Be smart about situations that you put yourself in. So when you recognize that you're in a situation where you feel like you're going to do something stupid, you have to have that support system, where your friends and people you hang out with, they see you going the wrong way and they get you out of there. So and definitely if there's any allegations at any time, you have to investigate those things to the fullest. And I think that's what you can't just take everything you hear and believe it right away. You have to do the investigation and follow up and see what actually took place. And if it was the case that these things did happen, then definitely the university and program has to pay for those things happen under their watch. Because with that high of a number, that's really mind-boggling that all those things can go on and there's just nothing being done and nothing being said. So it's kind of like a thing where you just have to wait to see what takes place. But like I said, just knowing situations and what situation you put yourself in, while you're out having a good time, that's cool and that's fine. Just gotta know what crossing the line is, and everybody has that point where they realize that they're crossing the line or about to, and you just got to go in that direction when you feel like you're going that route.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what bothered me about this story as I kind of followed it was that there was a female athletic trainer on the football program that claimed she was assaulted, raped by a football player. And instead of Baylor, addressing the situation, which again, I have highlighted, and Mandy, you may remember this a couple, weeks ago, that I feel like a lot of these, especially when it comes to the NCAA or specific programs, they don't get enough people who have, investigative experiences to look into these allegations of misconduct. But with that said, this girl, this female trainer, she said she was flat out raped by a Baylor football player. And she was moved to a female sports program, and Baylor, as a consolation prize, offered to pay for the rest of her education. That is not a save-all. Yeah, that is not a save-all. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that happens all the time. And you know what? I have stories that I could tell you.
And that was,
it would make
let me jump in. That's also was contingent that she signed a non-disclosure agreement too.
Disclosure, exactly.
Yeah.
What?
So
yeah, and the thing that bothers me about this whole thing with Baylor is that you have a guy, especially in Art Briles, who you want to talk about lack of institutional control. This guy knows. You have an assistant who is Kendall Briles his son. Anybody? What is the relationship between? Do we know?
No, it's his son.
Yeah, so your own son is saying, hey, by the way, you like white girls? Because they love football players? Man, you know what's going on in your program. He brushed it under the rug. And I don't care. I don't care what anybody says, but at the end of the day, if you're not going to acknowledge there's an issue with your football players, and he gave them the power to do what they wanted to do, and it infuriates me because women have a really hard time not only coming forth when it comes to sexual assault, but they have a really hard time, having people even support them when there's an issue with sexual assault. And the fact that Baylor's compensation package was, hey, by the way, I'm going to pay your tuition for the rest of your 4 years or whatever, is sickening. It fails to acknowledge an issue, and it fails to acknowledge that your head coach at the time was a piece of shit.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So essentially, your rape is worth 4 years of college.
Yeah.
What that?
I know.
Yeah.
As long as you sign this piece of paper,
so your rape is worth $12,000.
Right. You sign this piece of paper.
It's ridiculous.
Keep your mouth and legs closed. Right. In a sense, it's because no, and I say that it's not jokingly, but I say that because it's like they turn they throw it back kind of at the victim, like, and I've heard some of these people talk about how these chicks are making themselves too accessible, and like they're almost asking.
How do you make yourself too accessible?
Well, I'm only repeating. I'm the messenger here, and I'm with you. I'm just saying, but that's just
no,
that's
but
the
I've
lifestyle.
heard somebody that doesn't want to get their ass handed to them on a legal standpoint.
But I've heard that shit my entire life. I've heard that shit my entire life that I've made. Thankfully, I'm married now, but I've heard that shit my entire life that I've made myself too accessible because, like, I'm like petite and I have big breasts and I've made myself too accessible. What the hell does that mean? What does that mean? That's for another show. But what does that mean? I've made myself too accessible. What does that mean?
I'm with you. I got you.
Give me what that means.
But a lot of that, you look at the schools. I've heard that from the Baylor supporters. I've heard it from the Florida State supporters, and a lot of that is because those schools are is the big show in their town. There's Tallahassee or where is Baylor? I don't even know Baylor, but where at Saturday nights when Florida State, the Seminoles are playing in Tallahassee, you got the city is basically shut down because law enforcement, official, everybody's at the game rooting on their team. And there's a lot of people, the players get protected. That's not a misnomer.
I get that. This whole, like, I know, like, everybody jokes about me dating Saul Smith and stuff like that, but, like, it's not funny. It's not funny.
I didn't want to bring that up, funny. But I'm glad you did. Andre,
what the fuck is funny about that?
Do you want to chime in now, Andre? This is where me and Andre could just really have a lot of fun now.
What the fuck is funny about that?
Trending. Let's get Saul Smith trending tonight.
Saul Smith trends anyway when I talk about it. Whatever.
Okay.
Saul Smith trends anyway.
But you know what's interesting about the whole thing too? Yeah. But honestly, when it comes down to athletes and
my son just opened his eyes and rolled his eyes because he knows the soul.
Nice. I like it. We've hit a nerve.
Girlfriend, you have a good hubby right there. Leave it at that. But I mean, honestly.
Oh, I know. And Ryan is so. If you guys have heard, one night Ryan will come on with us and tell the story. We'll periscope with us and tell the story from Ryan's perspective. You guys need to have Ryan on one night. How about that?
Yeah, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, great idea, actually.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, it's the same thing with Ben Roethlisberger. Before he was married and had his 2 kids or whatever it was. I mean,
he assaulted
I know
those
somebody.
Chicks. Without a doubt, he assaulted.
By the way, I know somebody who went to college with him. And he did not have a good reputation at Miami University. No, he did not. Sure. He had a bad reputation at Miami. The thing is that I think some of these people, are not only is their ego big, but they think they can get away with a bunch of stupid shit. And when exactly. And when you are with a coach, and I think going back to Roethlisberger, it was Terry. What was his name? Terry Hefner, maybe, who eventually went to Indiana. Somebody's going to correct me on Twitter, but at the end of the day, and this is, again, and not to throw anything, this is where I respect guys like Calipari, Coach K, so on and so forth. They hold guys somewhat accountable for their actions. And
they hold them
all
accountable.
This stupid shit.
Yeah. Except Grayson Allen until the third trip.
Except
that's
who can apparently trip a bunch of people, so on and so forth. I know Coach K was that example.
It's Coach K. Coach K could have said it could have been worse. It could have been worse, but yeah.
Right. But you know what? Honestly, at the end of the day, and this is where I don't think guys like John Calipari get enough credit. If somebody, and I fully believe this, did this on his team at the collegiate level, he would have been like, no, out. It's not good enough for here. It's not good enough for me. This is ridiculous. And I literally went, I worked with a girl at a local news affiliate here in Channel 9. I just mentioned them. I worked with a girl who worked with me at a local news affiliate here in Cincinnati. And and
Channel 9.
Roethlisberger had a terrible, yeah, I know, right? Had a terrible reputation.
Was it Channel 9?
He had it at Miami University. And then you go to the pros, you had the thing that he had 2 instances. And even the instance that happened in Georgia was bad. I mean, these guys have to be held accountable for their bad behavior. And I think what happened, especially at the Baylor level, was, by the way, screw you, Art Briles apologists, and there's some that follow me and some I unfollowed. If you can't hold people accountable, especially earlier on in their career, then they don't deserve the privilege that they've been given, not only to play football at the collegiate level or basketball at the collegiate level, but maybe even beyond that. And I'll give Calipari credit. He makes his guys accountable.
Well, I want Andre to give us the last say on this topic, because, one thing, and this is no way am I defending schools here, but I have to throw this out, where in this case, Baylor, in Texas for several years, Andre, Baylor football was, a step below Texas, A&M, Texas Tech, probably. Especially in that state, the pressure that someone probably like Briles has to win. I don't know that. I don't know what the mindset or the pressures that these coaches endure. But when you get someone like Briles, who clearly it sounds like he just turned a blind eye, and if I don't need to know, don't tell me. This the pressure on these schools to win at all costs, if you will. And win at all costs, I mean having these players on the team, no matter what they've done or what they're doing. That's the reality of the college football business world. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think about us. It is, about winning, about trying to get your good years in, so maybe you can step on something bigger. But at the same time, when you have those big programs, you got all eyes on you. So that means, a lot of things that you do, they're going to be scrutinized. People are going to be watching to see what you're doing. It's never a thing where you're going to be doing something that's not going to come to light. Most of the time, especially depending on some of the situations like this, it's only a matter of time before it gets out. So I think a lot of times when you're a coach, it's a better plan not win by any cost and not have that mentality. I think the most successful coaches, they police their own teams. We try to understand that, we got players coming from different backgrounds and different family situations, and all the players they don't have the same mindset. So you kind of set an expectation for them all, at one time, and you have to do it over the course of the years, so we know what we expect from you. We gave you a scholarship, come play, or, you're on the team. Now, this is what you have to do, while you're here. This is what we expect of you. It's not that, you're going to just do something totally outside of what we said, and then we're going to just, act like you didn't do it. When you step outside those lines and you kind of go against the expectations that we set forth, and, you put yourself out there, and we have to discipline you accordingly just to show that example of, when you step out of this line, this is what happens, And if we lose one off, if it's our best player, it's our best player. But when guys start seeing things like that, then they start thinking about the decisions that they're making. And, then it starts going to where you have a respectable program and keep everything, how it should be. And then you just worry about, that's what you just worry about, winning. When you got guys in control where, you know what they're doing, and, they're doing things the right way.
Mm-hmm. All right. We're wrapping up. We I think went above and beyond that segment. But Andre, I just need to know something. It's a yes or no question. So just give me a yes or no answer. Is Andre Riddick's game, not basketball game, your game better than Saul Smith's? Yes or no?
You did not just ask that question. You did not just ask that question.
Mandy,
you
I'm asking
asshole.
Andre. I'm not asking you.
You asshole.
I'm going to say no.
Another great soundbite. I'm all about fucking soundbites on this show.
Andre, I have not met you, so I don't know if your game is better than Saul's or not.
I'm not asking you, Mandy. I'm asking Andre. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, Kevin.
Oh, Kevin.
I'm pouring another glass of wine.
I hear. I didn't hear you say yes or no, Andre, but I heard your head kind of shake up and down.
I said yes.
Yeah.
I said yes.
Okay. Oh, you did say yes. All right. Very cool. See, we're getting somewhere here. These are the kind of this is the kind of shit I don't want noodling in my head tonight as I'm going to bed. Is Andre's game better than Saul? Because he just answered it. Now, see, I'll sleep well. All right. This is the last little shot here. This is what I call our final shot. I'm going to throw. I ask the panel to share a sports take topic of your choice.
I'm not talking
kind of like
anymore, by the way. I'm not talking.
Whatever. I'm pulling your chain. I'm going to keep pulling your chain. You'll respond. Andre, give us a sports take, something that's just burning in your mind that you want to. I don't know if it's a pet peeve or something you just want to share your thoughts on. It's really kind of an editorial, not a back and forth thing. So have at it.
Right. Big thing, I don't like is I respect. I'm a coach myself. I respect coaches. I don't get into coach bashing or trying to make everything about be the coach's fault when you lose games. And I feel like the players out there playing. And I know losing last night's game. Coach Cal comes under fire. He's not an excellent coach. He's not. He got our coach. A lot of times, I know coaches are saying the right things to the players, and players not going out and executing those things. Because I highly doubt that when the camera's over there and the camera's on Cal during timeout, and you can see him go up, talk to a player, I don't think he's not telling that guy what he did wrong, or what you did wrong there, or what you did wrong there. Because I see him a lot, interact with players, getting on them and trying to, get things going in the right direction. So, every coach has a style, and sometimes one style, doesn't match up well with another team's style, and that comes into play as well. I think Coach Cal's a great coach, and I have the pleasure to be a Coach Cal guy and a Coach P guy, since, Coach P is the guy I play for. So I consider it an honor to be, to know both of those coaches and to, be around them. And I respect what both of them do. And it's, I just like to see people be more mindful of, not always put it on the coach, but at the same time, if you're going to blow up what he doesn't do, talk about what he does do well at the same time. But it's always the players in there that have a responsibility in there too. So it's not one person; it's a collective thing.
Right. Totally agree. Good take. Mandy, your final burn of the night.
My final burn of the night is political in essence, but also sports.
All right, cool.
I don't know if we've figured out yet with the sanction that has been put into place that we have both NBA players, college players, and high school players that are both from Iraq, Iran, and all these other places that have been banned that travel both in and out of our country, who play sports,
I've heard that. Yeah.
who may or may not be allowed in and out of our country. So what happens? Have we figured that out yet?
That's a good question.
So
we haven't.
that is my, So what about our NBA teams? What about our high school teams? What about our basketball teams? What about our soccer teams? What about our football teams? Has he figured that out yet? So,
no, that's a good point.
Did our illustrious president think about that?
You know what, Mandy? You need to hang out with us on a Monday night show, because on Monday night show, half of it is politics and religion, which is so much fun to talk about. And I got my guy Russ.
Invite me on a Monday night.
Yeah, yes, Heather, tell her Monday night is some good Trump. Either Trump.
Invite me on a Monday night because
I'll reach out.
This dumbass that we've now decided. Invite me on a Monday night because this dumbass that we're calling a president, because my brother is a high rank. Invite me on a Monday night. Yes.
Actually, I'm going to invite you on tomorrow night.
So
I'll reach out to you later. Invite you on tomorrow night. But go ahead.
Reach out to me. Yeah. You don't want me on a political night. This is so dangerous. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't want me on political. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a political show. And then tomorrow night, Monday night, it will be political.
You brought up Paul Smith. You were on my shit list.
No, wait a minute. You actually brought him up. I didn't bring him up.
Oh,
boy. It became fair game for the rest of us. And just because Andre says his game is better than Andre. Okay.
Andre Riddick, you are also not. I'm not a fan of you right now either.
I threw Andre under the bus.
I love you all.
All right, Heather, give us your quick wrap. Your quick wrap, Heather. Go.
Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm at my wrath is not going to be good. Late breaking news, by the way. John Lynch was named the 49ers GM. Seriously? I get that he was a safety
defensive
and
guy.
he had an illustrious career in the NFL. But again, the 49ers, for an organization that is continually trying to rebuild itself, why are you going to hire a dude who has no front office experience at all? Like, I don't get it.
That's
like,
your
what
take?
are they doing?
This is your final take, Heather?
I mean, seriously.
Yes, because I read this before, literally. And you can compare this to Trump, whatever you want to do. But I mean, I literally read this before we went on air, and I'm like,
Heather,
what the fuck are the 49ers doing?
You fumbled your last take. I thought you were going to come out strong.
What?
John Lynch is
I just think John Lynch is the GM with the 49ers, an organization that is clearly rebuilding itself, and they're going to hire a dude with no experience. It's kind of like what America did at this point. I mean, what the hell is happening? Dumb take. It might be a dumb take, but it's a dumb move by the 49ers as well.
Exactly. All right. Let's recap the show. We had John Lynch, not the right choice. Baylor University sucks ass. Tom Brady is going to win the Super Bowl and sport his give Goodell the bird. We got UK players representing in the NBA under 25. Cool preseason Sweet 16 announcement coming up in February. Skanks and hoes, boats and hoes at U of L. That I kind of feel sorry for them at this point. And last but not least, Andre Riddick over Saul Smith. That's the final burn of the night.
Good night. I love you all. I love you all.
Good night. Andre, thank you for hanging with us. A great show, brother. We'll get you back on.
Hey, no problem.
Mandy, I love you, Mama. Heather, good
I love
stuff.
you too. Good night.
All right.
Call me tomorrow.
Yes, I will.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Another Heather, stay on.
I will. I am.
All right, another fun little show. I want to incorporate a Cal soundbite that we find a great soundbite for the week and dissect it like some entertaining.
Yeah, kind of like Cal's hot take of the week. Hot take of the week. Yeah.
I think I'm putting it on you. You're going to find that soundbite for us, honey.
All right.
You can do that for me. All right.
Sure.
In closing, you can find us on social media, iTunes and YouTube. Subscribe, please. Twitter at The Shooting Lip. My Twitter at KevinHale423. Heather, your Twitter is?
At Heather Tungate 7. I'm also on Instagram, although that's kind of boring family pictures. I'm also on Snapchat. But again, if you want my hot takes, follow me on Twitter.
You're a Twitter girl, and that's where
I am.
I've got to, it's funny because the popularity of Shooting from the Lip, I get more responses or reaction from Facebook than I do Twitter. I wish it was the same, and I need to work on that. So I'm gonna be pressing you to help promote us on Twitter more and let me keep promoting us on Facebook. But we'll get that figured out. You can like our shows on Facebook and Instagram, Shooting from the Lip. We also have shows on Monday and Tuesday nights, 10 p.m., 9 Central. Heather, it was an entertaining show. I love this free thinking we have here. And it was Mandy who brought up Saul, so, we couldn't let that go.
She's a good girl. She's fun. I love having her on.
Yeah. And Andre Riddick, thanks for hanging out with us. He'll be one of the guys who'll be rotating with the panel. Heather, your game. Another solid take for you tonight. You and that mouth of yours. All 5'10", 5'11" of you, of that mouth. How tall are you, really? How tall are you?
Honestly, I am just under 5'11". And by the way, my son, who is, he'll be 12 in about 2 weeks, he's 5'8" already.
Oh, wow. How tall is your husband?
Yeah, I know.
How tall is your husband?
6'2". 6'2".
All right, so your boy's going to be logically over that 6'2", index.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nice. Okay. Hey, if you don't have anything going on tomorrow, plan to hang out with us Monday night. Our first guest had to cancel, so basically from 10 to 11, we'll have Russ and Sean just talking shit. and I will incorporate your voice. I've got other couple people who are going to come on and talk some of the politics and stuff, which at this point, Heather, the president, Kellyanne, all of them, they're giving us, I don't have to research this. I just need to listen to the last soundbite those clowns make, and then I incorporate it on the show. And then Russ takes over from there. Right.
Yeah, you know what's interesting, and I told you kind of offline that my mom was had to be a resource for a story that's coming up on the Today Show, and I would love to talk about that because my mom, and I said this, you know, on your Monday podcast, that she worked for former Senator Jim Bunning for 21 years. Her role was immigration, and by the way, she helped an Iraqi translator get citizenship in the United States about 5-6 years ago, I think. And I want to tell his story too, because you know what? Again, you know, people talk about Trump and Republicans, so on and so forth. There's a lot of Republicans out there that have done good work and truly believe in getting people here safely and legally. And that's what she did for this Iraqi translator who was threatened to be killed, not only him personally, but his whole family, because he helped U.S. troops.
Right. Good stuff. Yeah, let's definitely talk about that. That'll be good. All right. Okay. For Heather T, I'm Kevin Hale. We wish everyone a good Sunday night and a pleasant Monday. Heather will be joining us on our Monday night show with myself, Russ Hinkle, Sean Burton, and the end of the show we have model Tiffany Cervantes coming on, local model here in town. So Heather, have a good night. We will chat tomorrow and continue our thing.
Sounds good. Go Cats, and listen to us. We're good.
Yeah. Have a good night, lady.